Hello, how's it going, everybody? It's around 7:20, about to start up. Let's see, everything's going good. So this is gonna be Let's Talk Gundam, and tonight we're gonna be doing a little bit of Warhammer. It's gonna be episode 23, so it should be good. It should be interesting. We got my friend Rick here. He's a little bit into the Warhammer stuff. He plays a Tau, so he's gonna be going over a little bit of the Tau. Of course, we got Uber's cosplay at the end, who's gonna help us out with some of the Gundam stuff. He brought some of his stuff as well.
Right.
So it'll be good. It'll be good overall stream tonight. All right. And of course, over the weekend, the Talk Fest went fine. Everything went good. Everybody had a good time.
Sold a lot of Gundam models.
A lot of kits. It was nice, get a little restock. We're gonna be getting here a little bit restock here. All good, Sean. I know you said you couldn't make it all good though.
Yeah, there's another one coming up. Let's mention that. We're going to be at Super Fan Con.
Super Fan Con, I think March.
Mid to late March.
Yeah.
And that's going to be at Extreme Action Park.
Yeah, that's gonna be over off of Oakland for the Super Fan Con. Also, we're gonna be doing hosting a lot of different events over there. So it's gonna be. We're not gonna bring any of our arcades because they have an arcade over there as well. It's pretty decent sized arcade as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just gonna be there selling Gundam and hosting a couple different tournaments, events. So it should be good.
Right.
All right, but I guess let's start in. We have a little bit of Warhammer we're going to start out tonight with. So let's jump on over to screen number 2. All right, so Rick, I know this is your stuff, your little expertise in Ital. I'm more of a Tyranid player. We got some people that play Necrons in the chat. I know Sean is getting up his Necron stuff.
Ooh, Necrons are always cool. They're a pretty fun army. They recently got updated with the newer codexes and additions this year, so they got the edge on most of the other armies by comparison to the Tau, at least.
Yeah, well, the Tau, hopefully Tau gets some a little bit much needed some love. I know they're kind of in a little bit of interesting spot, if you can say.
They got that old, I think as my friend put it, shelf tier.
Yeah.
They got their own place right now with a few other armies. They currently are one of the quote-unquote shooty armies of the game, but they're not too good at that. Hopefully with these updates that are going to be coming out, supposedly the testing's already started for this codex, they'll be hopefully back to where they were in 8th edition. So codex, I keep throwing that word out. Codex for armies is kind of like your Bible for each one. Every single race or faction, they got one, and every edition you kind of get a new one. And short updates in between.
You got lore updates, it goes through the units. Most of the time it's a new lore. That's why people kind of like them, just to see where everything is at in the 40k universe.
Lore and a lot of pretty art.
Yeah, exactly.
About 3/4 of that book is art. And then like maybe a fourth of it is actual what you need.
Yeah, but
that's how they get you.
Like Ben's doing, he had a couple of different ones. It's kind of brought a couple different, regular troops, and we got some drones. So I think we can stop right there, Ben. There's one guy in the front, the small guy is looks like a fire warrior.
Well, that unit can either be a breacher or a fire warrior, depending on how you build it. So this one currently, he's a breacher, he's a troop. So Warhammer armies are kind of divided up into different sections when you're building them. You got your HQs, you got your infantry, fast attack, elites, lords of war, and all that kind of stuff. But every army, you gotta have some troops.
Each army, you play with battalions. You have different battalions. You got different detachments. All these detachments or battalions have to have a certain amount of HQs, troops. Most like a heavy artillery detachment has like a lot more elites and heavier guns and stuff like that. So troop slots are always 2 to 3, I would say, for regular army.
Most of them are going to bring 3 different detachments of varying sizes. They can go up to 10, if I'm correct, for each section.
And some of them, some different armies. I know Tau has, each Tau has a different, let's just say, different things. I know Tau has Overwatch, which is a big one.
Yeah, that's one of their big things that they get access to currently for free. Before last edition, everyone kind of had Overwatch for free, and it was nothing special, but Tau just did it a little bit better than others when you're currently rolling for it.
Is that like reaction shots?
Yeah, it's reaction shots. It's in response to a charge. Other armies now have to pay, but Tau get it for free. That's the only good thing we kind of got in this edition so far.
All right. And then we got next to it, it's a little drone. I know drones are kind of like a backbone to the Tau.
Yeah, they've been they're pretty much kind of required, or they were at least, but they kind of got changed drastically in the last update to the game. They're kind of a shield drone spam was what you used to do. Like imagine a field of like 40, 50 of these things and like maybe 3 big units. Now it's kind of just like very fringe choice because of how expensive they got in game point wise. But they're still a cool unit. They're super annoying to play against, but if you're the kind of person who likes to play with them, it's a lot of fun. Shield drones are super annoying if you get lucky with your rolls.
Yeah, very, very annoying unless you're Tyranid like me and just trying to swarm them, but you can't do anything with the shield drones or knocking all your dice out.
Oh yeah, they're just big bullet sponges
Pretty
that can
much.
absorb a lot compared to like regular drones. They come in like 3 kinds. You got marker drones, which is a whole other thing, gun drones, and shield drones. Shield drones kind of have this mechanic that's kind of termed feel no pain. They get the ability where it's like, oh, if you were to take damage, if you get lucky with your rolls, you get 5 and up, you just ignore it. So you can just, if you're rolling hot, just get 5, 5, 5. It's just like, oh yeah, nothing works against you. And it can be super annoying. You see people get tilted by that still, like 4 editions later.
Now, in the lore, is it just a case where there aren't a lot of Tau, so they supplement low numbers with machinery?
Oh no, Tower, like they are hyper evolved. Like they're really one of the newest races that have been around in 40K.
Right, but they're not really prolific. Like they're not all over the place. They don't have like a ton of numbers.
Oh no, they do have a pretty vast number. Like
okay.
like for what we'd consider vast, like compared to the Imperium at least, they're untold billions of just Imperial guards that kind of just get shoved into the grinder every day. Tower are a little smarter. At least they like to think they are.
Okay.
Some of them are.
And as well as Tau do go into other planets in the lore and kind of like the greater good, kind of like bring them into their religion,
Yeah.
if you would say that.
Like I said, my knowledge of Warhammer is limited, but I do have a little bit of experience with Tau because I played the PS2 Fire Warrior game, which apparently is like universally hated now. But I thought it was pretty cool back then when I was a kid. But aesthetically, they remind me a lot of the Protoss, so that's why I was kind of thinking that they supplement lower numbers with mechanized
A lot of the actually a lot of StarCraft got their inspiration off of.
Yeah, I guess it should be backwards. But that was like my first. I was more familiar with StarCraft before I got into Warhammer. So.
Yeah, well, most of the thing is all of the like mech units you'd see at least are all they're all battle suits. They're all man piloted units.
Yeah, so these are all, with the exception of the little drone, like these other ones in the back are actually a Tau person piloting them.
Yep.
What was that?
There was
Sure.
Okay.
Just a couple different kinds. The smaller one's the more grounded unit. They're the crisis suits. They're XV8s.
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of just like used by hired ranked troops, at least from what it seems. Like Tau kind of uses like a caste system, which kind of rolls into the whole big problem with them being called space commies. The regular Tau are. They totally are. They brainwash. Super hard.
Now I like them a lot less.
Oh no, that's where Farsight comes in, but so we'll get to that later. That's the cool Tau.
Mm-hmm.
They're the good, quote unquote, good guys as far as you can
Was
go.
there anybody good in Warhammer?
Anyone good?
Yeah.
No, there's no one good. Everyone is terrible.
Yeah, everyone's bad. It's just a matter of whose wrath would you rather be at whose mercy.
It's just which little toy plastic men do you want on the table?
Yeah.
Which one do you like? What looks the coolest? That's the best way to put it. There's something for everyone with Warhammer. That's the best part.
Now, I see with this one, he's got like the missile launcher and the Gatling gun. When you buy these figures, is that like you choose the options for weapons, or are these pretty much set?
Oh, that's So how it works is a lot of people. You got different ways you could play. You got rule of cool, which is what I kind of do, or you got what you see is what you get.
Right.
So a lot of people can be snobby about that, and it's just like, okay, so that's on your model. You have to play with that. But most people, at least from the groups I've played with, are really okay with it as long as you declare it. But that was from like a year back I built it, and it's just like, I like these things. We'll put these things on it.
All right, so it's not necessarily like standard equipment. It was just what you thought looked good.
Yeah, what looks cool, and then that was when I started learning the game and stuff, and ever since then it's like, okay, so none of these things are good. We'll take triple missile pods and just call it a day.
Some missiles are a little bit stronger, I guess.
They're good. They're point efficient, which is kind of a big thing with 40K.
Okay.
You're kind of limited. You got, at least in competitive and match play, you got 2,000 points to work with. So have fun with that when everything is crazy expensive.
Right.
Unless you're the kind of person like me who just is like, I like these things. They look cool.
As
like
well
that.
as some people you might not know about 40K is that when you're playing, like Rick said, he had 2,000 points, but every character or every figure, like a troop slot, is like maybe 3 points, and compared to a HQ, which could go up to like 200 points. So there is the difference between tiers of troops, HQs, elites, and stuff like that. Just for people who have never played Warhammer, it's a point system, but everything has their own points, and if you want to add different guns or any other stratagems, it does cost points.
So just like a real army, it's better to have a good mix of stuff rather than
Exactly.
a couple of really powerful units.
Yeah, exactly.
It depends, really. Depends how you like to play, because, I mean, a lot of the armies have, like, just a soup mix, and it's like, whatever works.
I like how he's got like this banner standard he's carrying as well.
Oh, that's...
Is that something that you came up with, or do they typically have flags like that?
Oh, no, they don't. That's a big thing I love about 40K as a model builder.
Mhm.
There are so many options for 3D printing and parts and just, like, a lot of scrap building.
Oh, so this part is 3D printed?
Yep.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah, because if we ever do get to take a look at it with the Storm Surge, the cool part about this guy is they don't have arms. So
Well, we'll talk about that when we
get
come
to
up here.
it.
We'll get to this,
We'll get to
these
that.
other ones first.
Yeah, the flag's 3D printed on it though.
That's
Everything
very
else
cool.
is just standard.
Mm-hmm. And there's online resources for where you could find these.
Yeah, a lot of people on Shapeway, Etsy, any like 3D printing stuff. If you know someone who's good at modeling, just do whatever, go nuts. That's the best part.
Very
As long as it's the base model and you got the right size base, just go whatever. As long as the judge approves it.
Very nice. Very cool. I like that.
Your own little touch of things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, personal flair. Like that's the big thing I like about it. Also, you paint them however you want, unless you're someone who's really big lore nut and you like a specific army. It's like they have to be this colors. Like
Right.
my color there, it's not there's no scepter faction that matches it for the Tau. I just kind of like orange and blue.
Oh yeah, this guy right here is pretty flashy looking.
Yeah, that's a commander. That's an enforcer unit.
So you got a squad of guys making sure the suit gets polished before it goes into battle.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah,
When you're a commander, you have that kind of luxury.
Yeah, for this one at least. The whole goal with this one was to make like a fresh out of the factory, brand new commander suit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just the follow-up version that they made shortly after. It's heavy weathering is always fun, but sometimes having a nice clean unit is good.
Right there with you. It looks very good. And like you say, with the aspect of it being commander, you can totally find a lore relevant excuse for it to be so flashy in comparison to his minions.
Mm-hmm.
Like you say, brand new, straight out of the factory, or just he's very insistent that his unit is clean for battle.
Yeah.
Very nice, very cool.
But
I think the only one we didn't talk about was this little guy down here with the blade.
so that's another example of an HQ. So a thing that's pretty in every army pretty much has them are named characters. So or ranked characters that have the term character. Usually those named characters are a lot better than non-named characters, which kind of would go with it. They're a little more expensive, but they get perks and benefits that kind of buff everything.
Mm-hmm.
So like, this guy's called he's a Cadre Fireblade.
Mm-hmm.
So he's kind of like he's for your fire warriors. He has like a little bubble which you got to measure around him actually, and it's like if you're basically like, all your assault weapons, if you shoot with them, if they're within 6 inches of this guy, they get double shots.
So it's kind of like an inspire bonus he gives to people
Pretty much.
around him.
He also just has a really good shooting skill. Like he has 2-ups.
So lore relevant, you said it's like a hero unit. So what's his deal? Is he like a commissar?
He's
or
he's just a higher rank in the Tau forces.
okay, cool.
So there are like very specific named characters that have their full named and stuff, but they usually just named characters as kind of a term unless they actually got a name, which are stuff like Fire or Farsight or Shadow Sun, or a couple of named characters that are really relevant to Tau lore. They're also just really fun to play on the table.
Right. And I noticed a few other things you've done. Some of the minis here is like the drone has like a little rare earth magnet on the bottom of the base.
Oh yeah,
So what do you use those for?
storage and transportation. Because if you want to look at any of the other bases, they all have that, but they're hollow. So underneath them,
See.
transportation for Warhammer. If you want to keep your stuff safe and pristine, you got to magnetize everything. it definitely helps for so you don't have things shuffle, get scratched.
Right, because you
you're
brought
nice-
these over in this big metal toolbox, so that keeps them all in place inside your box. That
Right.
makes sense.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
I mean, you want to. All this stuff is top coated, but it's still you don't want it banging, thrashing around, and ruining
Yeah.
all your hard work.
Yeah, or like a little guy's limb cracking off or something horrible like that.
Yeah, it happens a lot.
Now the bases too looks like you've done some customization. Like you've got little bits of foliage and like the soil and stuff like that. That's
Yeah.
something you did as well.
Yeah, it's really encouraged if you want to add to your whole theme of your army to kind of like paint up, detail, add rock, gravel. At least with mine, because I did a desert sort of theme.
Mm-hmm.
You really, it just adds more personal touch. And
Yeah, it reminds me of like Bonneville Salt Flats.
Yep. Yeah, they have a lot of the Citadel offers a lot of good texture paints, I guess is what they'd be called, for
Mhm.
like adding to this kind of stuff. If you want to do snow or desert, and you can get it anywhere though, but it's just really easy that way.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
All right, is there anything else you want to talk about with these guys, or do you want to move on to one of your other ones?
Not with those ones specifically. There's just nothing crazy about them besides that.
All right, well, go ahead and pass me the next one you want to talk about, and I'll put it over here on the turnstile. And
We'll do the storm surge first.
Yeah, we could talk about the 3D printing part of it too, because this is a little bit
This is
more.
the big boy.
Yeah.
It's lighter than I thought it would be.
Oh yeah, they're hollow.
It looks like it would be very heavy.
Yeah, you might need to scoot the camera back just a little bit higher.
I'm worried I'm gonna lose that arm.
Yeah.
I'll come around.
Yeah, that might be better.
So should we talk about it while hand though?
Yeah,
just
go
a
ahead.
little bit.
Talk
Yeah,
a
we
little
can-
bit about it while I'm doing my thing.
Alright. So the thing that's cool with Tau, at least, and a lot of the other armies, everything's kind of got these. They're called Lords
I'll
of
say
War.
that and point it a little bit down a little bit. There you go.
Yeah.
That should be good right there.
Yeah. So kind of like everything, every army kind of has like these. They're called Lords of War, and they're these big, very, very expensive point-wise units that are like usually 500 to 1,000. So this is like a half or even a third of your army at sometimes, and a lot of them are better than others, that's for sure. But they're really fun, nice display pieces. And it's
And-
just like put a lot of effort into them.
And I would say, like, I know Imperium has like their Titan classes. This would be kind of like
Those
a
are the
Titan
ones that are
class.
like walking churches, right?
Yeah, pretty
That's about that's the limit of some of my Warhammer knowledge. I'm like, they got the
Yeah,
ones that look like
dreadnoughts.
walking churches.
Yeah, like the dreadnoughts and the Titan classes, and so this would be kind of like a Titan class for Tau.
They're basically essentially that. Other armies for Lords of War some of them get like named characters, but that's if you ever talk about like the Primarchs and really deep in the lore. Those
Yeah.
are they're the special boys for all the
Imperium.
Space Marines.
Now, this one's packing some heavy firepower. Now, is this still piloted by one guy?
3 people.
3 people pilot this. Okay.
Yeah. Normally, so with the 3D printing aspect of it, this guy normally he doesn't have arms actually. So
Oh, okay.
the missile pods on his hands are normally just straight mounted to the body. The cockpit that's on there has 3 guys inside of it, but it's like it kind of looks a little wonky. So it's like you go online,
That's
see
the
like
cockpit right there.
yeah, the black portion on the top there.
Oh, okay.
So it's a lot of 3D printed parts you can get to make things like more unique. And kind of general consensus with the Storm Surges is just if you buy this thing, you got a $50 tax, you got to buy arms.
Yeah, I can see a little bit of the filament texture in the shoulders now that you mention it. You
Yeah.
can tell that those parts are 3D printed.
Yeah, it hasn't been fully top coated and wasn't a super good print job on that end, but I mean,
No, but
it gets the job done.
if you hadn't mentioned it, I might not have noticed.
Yeah. But big part of that, it just adds a lot more flair to it. It looks more imposing.
And these are flamethrowers on the bottom of the arm, I assume?
Yeah, a lot of the stuff on him is magnetized, which is another big fun thing to do.
May I?
Yeah, you can. So like all the
that's super cool.
the weapons on there you can swap out because they have a lot of options. I only got into doing it recently, but it's a lot of fun to do that. So it's like you can see what you get kind of thing actually if you're into that.
That's very neat that it gives you have a lot of options there to expand it.
Yeah. And it's just a lot of fun to have like these big units, just slam them on the table and just like watch them get killed in 2 turns because everyone's scared of them. They're pretty good.
Yes. So this guy on the battlefield, what kind of purpose does this serve? Is this like long range fire support?
Yeah, he's a pretty beefy boy. He's pretty strong with his weapons. He's so like He's like got about 20 wounds. Most things have like under 10, so he usually sticks around a while.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a few different options for weapons. Like the cannon on his back has 3 different heads if you were to magnetize it and do those, but
Oh, okay.
kind of stuff like
So
that.
Different kinds of weaponry.
Yeah, different specializations.
Okay.
Like crowd control, big troop groups, or just like single target. You want to see something gone. Usually the best way to do it. Just a few different things on him.
Yeah, this guy gives the impression that he shows up on the battlefield and things get quiet very quickly.
Story wise, yeah, but on the actual game table, not so much.
Not so much.
Yeah, he like I was saying with being the supposed shooty army, Tao's kind of right now got like one of the worst shooting in the game.
And that's really just more a case of like feature creep and stuff like that.
A lot of it, and like personal opinion, I think the guy, whoever is writing for Tao in there, doesn't know what he's doing. He has not really worked on Tao before he works on other armies, at least is what they've been said or told. And you have to also, you're kind of shoehorned into playing the marker light mini game with Tao, which is the biggest problem.
I gotta say too, your paint job on this is excellent. Very clean lines.
Yeah, it's a bit of combination of airbrushing and hand detailing. So that's a big thing. That's like the big consensus. Like when getting into it, I was like really. It's felt imposing. Like, oh man, this is going to be difficult. Having to learn how to do this in hand paint, and it's a lot more. After doing a few of it, it's like, oh, this is actually just relaxing. It's a ton of fun to do hand painting and detail work.
I'm very much the same way. Like the whole process, sometimes you might think it's very stressful, but it is very relaxing just to be able to sit down, turn off your mind, and just kind of focus on the task.
It gets a little monotonous, especially with some of the armies where it's like
30 or 40 of the same guy over and over again.
Yeah.
Close. Tyrannid, specifically.
Yeah, I got about like I'm gonna have like 70 to 80
Yeah, you got
termagants
a lot of work
and
to do.
Yeah. But the good part is it's like most of those like troop guys where you got to paint like 50 plus of them. You don't got to put too much effort. They're not going to be on the table too long.
They're cannon fodder. That's unfortunate.
Put your effort into characters is what it is. Stuff that you really want to be proud of, kind of thing.
Yeah, I like the stand for this one. I get very the opening of Terminator 2
Exactly.
vibes because it's just this giant machine stepping on piles of skulls. That's very, very cool. And I guess you got some little wood chips here you put in as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that little flair you can add with the stands. I didn't even notice they were skulls when you first brought it in. I just looked closer. I'm like, oh, that's freaking metal.
No, there's a lot of fun stuff to do with just base detailing and just a lot of effort you can if you put the time and a little bit of money in.
Well, that's a good question too. If you had to put like a time on this one, how much time would you say it took you to build and customize this one figure?
You mean like just straight build like time?
If you were to do it continuously, how long? How many hours do you think you put into it?
Dry time is the biggest thing. I'd say probably. I think I spent like maybe 2 weeks.
2 weeks on this one.
2 weeks on and off, yeah. Because having to wait for parts was the other big problem. But having an airbrush definitely helps quite a bit. That's for sure.
Now, what about that? Now, 2 weeks in terms of money, what did it cost you to make this? Like the actual cost of the figure itself?
Oh, the Storm Surge itself, I think, is like about $110.
And that's before you factor in things like 3D printed parts and the actual cost of the painting it and everything.
Yeah, if you were to just build it straight. And plus, the thing is good with it, a lot of the paints for Warhammer, they really sell you on those acrylics. And I thought, because I used to do a lot of lacquer paint for Gundam and stuff, and it's like, I'll try that with these and just time and effort. It's like, the acrylics are a bit better.
Yeah, acrylics, they really do save a lot of time in cleanup and stuff like that. They are very much more forgiving.
Yeah, and I mean, once you're done with it, it all kind of looks very similar.
Yeah.
The only difference is a lot of washes and dry brushing and
a lot
of extra stuff.
But you can do a lot of that still in like enamels and stuff like that if you want. Just like I said, the dry time is going to be a lot longer.
Yeah. But I think like paint wise, I mean, I've been using mostly the same paint sets and dropper bottles since I've started, though. I mean, I've maybe bought 2 or 3 only for my entire army of orange, because everything is orange.
So a little goes a long way.
Yeah, you got to thin everything pretty well with acrylics and stuff for hand brushing and airbrushing.
Right. What do you use to thin your paints? I use like 91% isopropyl.
Oh, the acrylics you can just use distilled water.
Distilled water.
That's the best part.
There you go.
Yeah, if you live in an area with nice enough water, just go to the tap. If not, bottled water will do.
Good to know. Good to know.
Yeah, and it's pretty decent. I mean, it's like 2-to-1 ratio for water, paint to water.
Yeah. Very, very cool design. I like these very much in the same way I like customized Gunpla because it's like a base unit and you can add so much story to it just by the little ways you can customize it.
Exactly.
Like I love these, like the little flamethrowers you have underneath the arm there. It makes sense in something this big. How would you deal with guys getting around your feet?
Mm-hmm.
You just
Exactly.
burn them to that. Why not?
Pretty much.
Very, very cool. So I think you had one other big guy. Do you want to talk about him next?
Oh yeah, that's pretty well. By comparison, cost point wise, the Riptide's a much better choice if you're getting into Tau.
Oh, you want to pass him to me?
Yeah, sure. There you go.
So this was called the Riptide, you
Yeah,
said?
he's a Riptide. So Riptides are kind of a big backbone to the Tau army.
Mm-hmm.
At least they were in the 8th edition. This is the kind of thing where it's like, oh, we'll take 3 of these
Camera
things.
good?
Yeah, I'll point it a little bit down. There you are.
Mhm.
Just so you can see the base as well. There you go.
Yeah. Riptides is I love this unit. I just like the design. It's another battle suit, and it was in 8th edition, kind of the meta for Tau. It's you play 3 of these things, spam drones, watch your opponents cry.
Are these single pilot as well, or are these multiple?
These ones are single pilot
So
also.
it's one guy controlling this.
Yes,
So this is probably something equivalent to like a Gundam in their lore.
pretty close.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the Gundam analogies of Tau. It gives a bad name to us.
Well, I'd be lying if I looked at this and didn't get a lot of 80s anime vibe from this.
They knew what audience they were targeting
Yeah.
with these things.
Like, this is reminding me more of like Heavy Gear. I don't know if you ever played that game.
I was thinking Mech Warrior.
Mech Warrior.
Mech Warrior Armored
yes,
Core.
Similar. It's very similar. But yeah, it reminds me of that. Like, maybe not Gundam size, maybe somewhere in between that.
Oh no, they'd be about the same if I'm correct.
Okay.
Like scale wise, like a portion of one of them, like a early UC, probably much smaller. But yeah, Riptide's just a pretty good shooter unit. Point cost wise, it's like yeah, you want to run maybe 1 or 2 of these things.
Mm-hmm.
Besides the fact they look really really nice on the table in comparison to everything else.
Yeah, I like you've gone with like kind of a different paint tone for this one. Like it's a much more subdued than some of the other ones you had.
Mm-hmm.
But it makes it look like more war weary, like he's actually been through some action.
Yeah, that's the thing. A lot of Tau painters I've seen always go with clean cut, really nice looking, but it's like,
Well,
why would you want that?
I can see why. Like the designs kind of lend themselves to that, but having it this way too, I think, is also very appealing.
Yeah, it's kind of like, do you want to see something that's been through a few battles or something that's, this is right now and it's going to be gone in a couple hours, just watch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's been around is what I like to go with.
Very, very cool. I'd like to give also more skulls on the base, but I can tell these ones are orc skulls.
Yeah, it kind of fits with the whole thing I was going for because I played Farsight Enclave,
Mm-hmm.
and Farsight kind of didn't like orcs. Farsight's a pretty cool dude.
Nice. And, this one looks like he's got a shield on that arm. Is that functional as well?
Yep, shield generator.
Okay, so it's like an energy shield he generates.
Yes, so it's just like a lot of equipment Tau got.
Mm-hmm.
Usually it's just mostly defensive or some heavy offense stuff. Ooh, sorry. They got stuff that improves their shooting a little bit, stuff that makes them a little bit stronger on Overwatch, or just gives them better invulnerability saves.
Very, very cool.
Mhm.
And was there other customizations you did for this one, or is this how this one came out of the box?
Oh, that's just stock. That's
So
how
this is
they
how
come
they
out.
look stock.
Yeah, it's just I chose a different weapon because they got a few different options. They either got a big chain gun or a ion cannon.
Mm-hmm. And which one is this?
It's the ion cannon.
So this is the ion cannon. Okay. Very cool. And same question as before, like money-wise, what did this one cost you?
Riptide's a lot less by comparison. I think I bought them about 80 each.
That's not too bad.
Yeah, the thing that people seem to have or mindset of with Warhammer, it's pretty pricey, but it's not as bad as a lot of people think.
Mm-hmm.
Like upfront, it's got a big upfront, but it's like long-term investment. It's like,
I think it's the combination of the time and the money that just scares people away.
yeah, I mean, once you get into it, it's a ton of fun. That's for sure. Because I've only been playing for I've been into it like maybe a year and a half to 2 years. Like I've been always like looking at it from afar, like, this looks cool. I just wish I had the money to afford it.
Mm-hmm.
But big thing now, secondhand. That's for sure.
Are any of these ones you got secondhand?
Not these ones, but a good portion when I got into it, I picked up secondhand from some locals, and stuff like that, and it's a good starting point.
Now, how do you find stuff like that? Is there just like a whole community, like certain forums you go to, or is this like something you could Google on Craigslist and you'd find Warhammer armies and stuff for sale?
I've looked at Craigslist. I've never seen anything for Warhammer, but eBay, Facebook groups, local Discords. There's a pretty big one for Florida that I'm a part of for like they run a league and all that kind of stuff. But eBay, you can definitely get like I think you could probably buy like a whole 2,000 point army, which you could just play maybe for 400 or 500, and you're set. And it's already painted
wow.
if you don't really care about the colors.
Nice, very cool. So yeah, if you're gonna get something that's already done, and you can find one you like, eBay, you can find an army you like.
Yeah, kind of
as
just
well as like Rick said, even third party 3D printing. I know a lot of people, some people frown on it, but some people do buy different units.
There's elitists in every hobby.
Yeah.
It's
Oh, no,
inevitable.
It's a little different for that. Yes, Games Workshop brings down the hammer on that. The recast.
Yeah, there's a few memes about like what Games Workshop will do to you if they catch you using unofficial models.
Yeah, the problem is it's a little bit difficult with certain things. It's like, this is out of print. I really like this.
Right.
I will look to Russia for help in this time.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
Nah. But some folks don't usually care. Like, recasting's a big thing with this, but I mean, some of this stuff, it's like, I literally just said it's not too bad price wise, but then you go look at Forge World.
Yeah,
Forge World is that's
a little pricey.
That's a little pricey.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's like a third party company?
No, Forge World is an official part of Games Workshop. It's
okay.
They do resin.
think of P Bandai.
Oh, okay.
I think it's worse than P Bandai.
Say no more.
So like a big example, one of these things that I picked up recently, I'm really waiting for it, is a Taunar Supremacy Armor. So this thing's about a 1.5 feet tall of solid resin.
Oh wow!
And
They like a baby.
basically, and it's like compared to these, it's actually got some heft to it because it's not hollow. It's straight solid piece, and it's like, I feel bad saying how much it is. Like, I'm like, oh, this is such a waste of money.
Hey, be honest, man.
Like, some of their stuff can get up to like, they have a thing for like, okay, I'm avoiding how much it costs. Tau has a thing called a manta,
Is your
which
girlfriend listening?
no,
Don't let her
my
know
friends are. They're going to be judgmental after this. Some of the stuff can get up to a couple $1,000 dollars.
Hey man, I'm a cosplayer. You don't have to tell me about expensive hobbies.
Yeah, this is just this is 15 pounds of solid resin. Just slam this on the table. It's just like, oh my god, what am I doing? Most of them are really good too. Like, most of the Forge World stuff models are awesome. Because they're resin molds. They're much higher quality.
You can get higher fidelity on the details and stuff like
Oh,
that.
it's not even a joke. Like, look, like some of the more organic looking stuff, like Tyranids.
Oh yeah.
Their models look amazing.
Like, see all like the little individual scales on them and stuff like that.
Yeah, for most of the Forge World stuff, but most of the recent plastic models they've gotten a lot better by
Very
comparison.
nice. Well, that's very cool, man. I don't know much about Warhammer. Like, most of what I know is just through osmosis, like memes and the few video games and stuff I've played. But I've always had an appreciation for any kind of like heavily customizable hobby like this. And
That's the best part, yeah.
And I can definitely see like your skill on display here and your paint work and stuff like that. Very, very nice work, man.
Yeah, a lot of stuff transfers between this and Gundam, that's for sure. Because if I didn't do that before this, I would have been really lost.
Right. Do you want to talk anything more about your Warhammer guys, or do you want to talk some about your Gundam stuff?
Well, I mean, do you have any other specific questions or any other topics you think would be important to bring up for Warhammer?
I think we pretty much went through the troops. You know, you got some HQs, you got some Titans, and pretty good little mix of everything for the Tau.
Yeah, for what Tau have to offer. Since
Yeah.
they're kind of newer, they don't really have as much choice compared to other armies.
Well, you say newer as in like how old the race is compared to everyone
Oh
else.
no, actually, like Tau is one of the newer races added to the game. I think it was like 5th or 6th edition,
Yeah.
or 4th or 5th.
Well, see, here's because I'm not. Explain it to me because I'm not as familiar. Because I remember playing the PS2 game era of this, so that was a while ago. That had to have been like 20 years.
Yeah, they don't really come out with new editions too often.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. So what are they on now?
Ninth.
Ninth edition.
And ninth just like
Games,
ninth just came out. It's not even fully out yet. Just they like to kind of spread out the information on ninth and stuff like that.
editions usually last like 3-4 years at a time,
Oh,
sometimes
okay.
longer. It's a lot more quicker now with the whole internet and everything, so they get to spread a lot more stuff quicker and have more chance to update it. Because if I'm correct, like between first and second edition, it was like maybe 5 or 6 years or something. Like it lasted a very long time.
Now, competitively, do people still older editions? Are they still relevant? Do people still play older edition rules, or is it pretty much 9th and nothing else now?
Exactly. Yeah, it's pretty much the most current thing is what you got, unless you play the other.
Yeah, there's like kind of like what would you call Blood Ball?
Oh, that's just another offshoot of it.
Yeah, there's like
'Cause,
offshoots and stuff like that, but for like, and then you got their fantasy Warhammer and stuff like that. But for like 40K, yeah, you're gonna be playing nice.
Yeah, you got I mean, the thing is good. At least most of them, all the models, pretty much, except for a few, are transferable between this and Kill Team, which is the other 40K game. Which
That's
is
like the quick fire one that we talked about in the past, right? Or
Yeah.
like squad-based combat.
Yeah, it's like 125 points and under. You play with a much smaller table, because like currently they did just shrink the table, but it's like 44 by 60 inches for a table. It's pretty sizable, but this one, I think the size for Kill Team's a foot by a foot. It's really small.
Yeah, so you could do that on just like a standard desktop.
Yeah, if you got like 45 minutes kind of game, an average, like have you discussed like how long a regular game of 40K can be, like a full 2,000 point?
No, I haven't discussed. We haven't really been into like the tabletop and like that stuff.
You'll have to get me in on that.
Yeah, so like I would say like a normal, let's say if you're playing a league game, that's gonna be a 2,000 point game. Probably talking 2.5 to 3 hours, because you're probably gonna know what you're getting yourself into, like 5 turns, maybe 2.5 to 3 hours.
Yeah, turns are long with this game. That's the thing. There's
a lot of dice rolling, especially when you got so many units. I imagine.
Yeah, I wanna. How many was it when we played with all those Fire Warriors? I want to roll 96,
Yeah.
heading on 5s. I hit 2. Like
Wow.
Yeah, it's fun. If you like rolling dice, this is the game for you.
Less dice rolls as the game goes on, as your army starts to thin out.
Not really, because like one guy can like you can fire like 18 shots with one guy, so you got like 18 dice and stuff like that.
Wow. Okay.
It's a ton of fun. Like I got into the game just for models, but it's like after playing the game and stuff, I'm like, this is awesome.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the days when we can do some of these games here, so I can just kind of see and. I don't know if I want to get into it yet because I got too many expensive hobbies as it is.
Well,
but it seems like it'd be a great spectator sport.
It is, but you don't have to play 2,000 too. That's the other big thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you wanted to, you could literally just pick any point value, whatever you and your opponent are good with, and just play.
Yeah,
like
I say 2,000 because like
that's
for leagues and like if you want not competitive, but like
depends on how serious you are.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean you can play a 500 point game. It's gonna be quick, but you get to play.
Yeah, I think I would probably end up. I would always prefer to play fast and loose. I was the same way when I played D&D back in the day. I didn't always stick to like super hardcore rules. I pretty much did whatever was fun.
I mean, you say that, and all of a sudden you have $500 out of your account. These models look so great. Why don't you play them?
Yeah, let's hope I don't get to that point.
Oh, don't worry, we'll get you.
Mm-hmm.
We'll bring you into the enclave like that.
Well, if there was a faction that would do it, I think Tau would be the one to do it because I love the aesthetic of the Tau.
Just get ready to lose. I mean, that's how I feel. That's how it's been since I started. I've only won like maybe 2 games, but I have fun every time. You can't beat it.
That's good. That's good as long as you're having fun. All right. So, do you want to talk about some of your Gundam guys?
Yeah, sure. I did bring a couple Gundams for just some recent projects that I've been working on. Just because a few times, I don't know if I've watched many of the streams for you guys, but I think Grunts just always could use more representation.
Hey,
always.
I'm always down for that. So let's talk about the first one you got here. I know this guy. This is the Yagen.
Yeah,
the camera's actually pretty good.
Okay,
so 2018.
Yeah, this one's fairly recent. This is a very recent master grade.
Yeah, and I'm surprised it took so long for them to actually make a master grade of him.
Yeah, and you talk about like a grunt that has been in a lot of shows because the Yagen was like Federation standard mobile suit for something like 30, 40 years in lore. Like
Time-wise, yeah.
They were using this thing from Char's counterattack all up into F91.
Yeah, and it's such a good design too. Like the color, I hated it at first, but it's like, oh, it grew on me. This minty green.
Yeah, it is kind of a minty looking green, but like you say, grunt. So this is like not the hero suit in the context of the show. These are the ones that kind of bite it by the 100.
Yeah, they're they're just the later stages of the gym.
Yeah, and if anyone is unfamiliar with the gym is like the mass production Federation grunt mobile suit.
The gym's the best. I love the gym.
Yeah, the gyms are great for customization, and the same thing with these ones. I like what you've done with this weathering. Like, it's very, very much to highlight the edges. It gives it that very 80s cell animation look. So tell us about that, how you did that.
Oh, a lot of the weathering on it is just pretty simple dry brushing. I'm always a big, like, I'm same with the towel. I love weathered suits. Like, pristine, clean ones, they have their spot, but it's like, you want something that's battle hardened, show off what it's been through. It's like, oh, most grunt suits kind of just bite it instantly.
Right.
It's like, nah, he's been around. He's a good pilot.
Yeah, he's one of the ones that made it off the asteroid at the end of the movie. That's why it's all
Very
beat
few.
up.
Very few.
Not a lot of them did, but he managed to.
Yeah, but I do like the whole, like you pointed out, with all the edge highlighting and stuff. It just brings a lot of detail to where there's actually little to no detail on this suit.
Right.
They went with super anime accurate to its dismay, almost, I'd say.
Yeah.
It has it's not super detailed, so not a lot of people I know liked it because of that. But I'm like, nah, you just got to work with it.
But yeah, maybe not the most complicated design, but if you were to put this alongside some of the other ones from Char's Counterattack, that kind of era, it fits right in, and it really, just like you say, the color of it would really help it stand apart from other things on your
Oh,
shelf.
it pops, like, compared to everything else.
But one of the things you're talking about, like accurate to anime to a fault, is you see like the thighs here. These are a single piece. On a lot of other modern model kits, these would be able to swivel at the thigh at some point, but because they didn't want to have those lines broken, they wanted to have it be very animation accurate. He doesn't have that thigh swivel.
Good. I mean, if it had a actual back skirt part for it, they could have
Right.
done it. They could have hit it.
Yeah.
Because all the other prior gym models in the Master Grain line, at least with like the GM Colony type, they all had it because they
Yeah.
could hide it.
But it was hidden up in the hip joint. The
Yeah.
Zaku 2 Master Grade 2.0 had the same kind of deal.
Yeah.
But being that this is a grunt suit, it's obviously designed for low cost, high mass production, so there's a lot less armor on it. No skirt armor really to speak of. The backpack is pretty sparse. If you're a fan of Gundam lore too, there is like a lot of callbacks in this design to other mobile suits. Like these are very reminiscent of the thruster flanges on the Gundam Mark II. The grenades on the hips and the sword on the hip is very reminiscent of the Zeta Gundam. So there's a lot of in-universe lore of the design that is carried over from previous units in Gundam, which I like a lot. But yeah, very, very cool. Also, 69. Nice. I thought I wouldn't catch that.
Can't catch it on the screen, but someone did.
It's no wonder he survived the battle.
Good. It's just a really good kit. I just wish more people would talk about it because
This
like
is one I would pick up, and that if I see the chance for us to buy it around here, I will definitely make sure to get some.
yeah, it's like this and the Jesta are
I
like
like
two
Jesta.
some of my favorite kits. The Jesta's great.
Just as like one of these on steroids.
Pretty much.
Yeah, it's got some beefier armor and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's got few more variants too if you got the money. The Jesta Cannon is such a nice kit.
Yeah, I think we're gonna see some more of these guys too in the upcoming Hathaway film. I wouldn't be surprised if Yagans are still running around even at that point in the
Oh,
timeline.
probably. I just am hoping those kits are going to be good because it doesn't seem like there's going to be any master grades for that line yet.
Not yet, but I actually did just pre-order recently the Zui with the missile effect parts and everything. So we do have some of the Hathaway suits coming. We had the Penelope at one point here, but it went pretty quick.
It's a good kit.
Yeah.
I like the third party, like the Mechanicore kits for the Penelope and the G.
Right. Yeah.
Those
pretty
kits are great.
impressive. But anything else you did with this? Is it just a straight flat top coat?
There was a satin more than a flat.
Okay.
Just
yeah.
that and just some dry brushing throughout the whole thing. Just kind of give it a little more detail where it needs it.
Well, very, very good, man. And like you say, more love for grunt suits. This one's very much a looker.
And speaking of other grunt suits,
Yes. Talk about the most famous grunt, I think, of all.
You want hamburgers?
I'm getting hungry. I knew somebody was going to make
Someone's
that
got to
joke.
make. Someone's got to do it.
Poor Bernie. It's a little late for Christmas.
Yeah, but this kid, the Re 100, this line doesn't get enough love.
Yeah, the
Like as of
Re-100.
recent.
Yeah, for anyone that's not familiar, the 1/100 line used to have a ton of other model kits that were made in that line, not just master grades. They were just kind of collectively referred to as 1/100 no grades or something like that. Have them from various shows and stuff like that. The RE100 was kind of Bandai saying, okay, there's lots of designs out there that people probably want master grades of that are probably a bit too obscure or wouldn't sell well enough or are a bit too weird. But we want them in that master grade scale, so that's where the RE100 line comes in.
It still baffles me because the first one's the Nightingale, and I'm like, everyone kind of wants that.
Everyone wants that, but if you were to make that in master grade, it would be very, very difficult. So it makes sense for it to be an RE100. And things like this as well is like, it's a Zaku, but it's different enough from a regular Zaku to where if you're familiar with Gundam lore and the design of the Zaku, it's very much different, but probably not different enough to differentiate to get its own master grade. So that's where stuff like the RE100 line comes in.
Well, maybe if they do a 3.0 Zaku.
Right, and if you were to put this next to a master grade, the scale is the same. The level of detail and design is mostly the same. There are some things that are not quite as good, like certain seam lines might be not hidden as well. There's not really internal skeletal detail, things like that. But they do look really good in comparison, next alongside other master grade kits.
I mean, I'd argue and say I think I like this one more than the Master Grade 2 Zaku because that thing's really starting to show its age.
Really? I still very much like the Zaku 2.0, but this one does have a much more aggressive look to it.
I think I'm biased. I just hate doing the pipes on the Master Grade 2.0.
Yeah, this one's a rubber.
Yeah, they're pretty nice for that, but after building 3 Master Grade 2.0 Zaku's, I'm like, I don't want to do this ever
I think
again.
I've built like 5 at this point.
I'm happy they hopefully will have something new with it, because I thought they had something new Zaku related coming out at some point, like next year or later this year.
I did see that they have a 2.0 Dom coming out. So.
I thought it was a 1.5. They said same with like the.
It's kind of like one of those because it's like the Dom was kind of, even though it was old, it was still good. There's not really too much you can do to update that design just because of the nature of its size. But in the lore, this is not just like a regular Zaku. They kind of explain it away because in this series it was a different mechanical designer, so everything kind of had a different look to it. But in universe, they explained to it as the war was going on, Zeon's old mobile suits, they have to update them to keep them, basically to keep them on the same footing as these Federation suits that are getting churned out that are much more powerful. And this is the Zaku 2 FZ. And there's also a version that has the almost like a Stahl helm style head. I think it actually came with this kit.
It did.
Yeah, it comes with the option. So it actually looks like a German World War II style helmet.
Yeah, they had a surprising amount of like optional stuff for this thing.
Right, but so in the context of the lore, it's a Zaku, but it's been heavily upgraded and modified to where it basically has performance on par with something like a Gelgoog, like a late war variant. Yep. If you were going to give it like a real world equivalent, this would be like a late model Panzer IV in World War II for Germany. Like it's still something they've been making for years, but it's got so many upgrades and things to it. It's much more. It could stand toe to toe with some like modern Allied units.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
yep.
And we mentioned the hamburger thing earlier already.
Yeah, it was.
The upgrade.
Yeah. What?
So I said the upgrades didn't end up doing the pilot a whole lot of good in the end.
In the end, no, but he did take out the Alex.
No, he did.
That's one of the few characters to take out a main.
There's not a lot of characters in Gundam lore that have taken out a Gundam, but Bernie in the Zaku 2 FC was one of them. He just didn't live to brag about it.
Doesn't have to. The impact was felt years and years later still.
The show is very, very good if anyone hasn't seen it. Gundam 0080 War in the Pocket is a 6-episode OVA from, I think, 1989. Got the character designer, was the same guy that did Macross, so very nice character designs. Like I said, updated animation in general in comparison to like the 70s anime, so like all the mecha designs were updated and they look very, very good.
Yeah, most of the OVAs from that era did. They came out way after the original.
Yeah, golden age of glorious hand-drawn cell animation. But I brought these in before on DVD. You can still get them every now and then.
Blu-rays are out. They did new prints of those.
Blu-rays are out, and every now and then Gundam Info on YouTube switches out the shows they're running. I know at one point they were running War in the Pocket as well. Yeah. If you're not familiar with Gundam, a little violent, more violent than like the typical like you might expect from 70s anime. Like specifically, there's some pretty heavy violence when they're invading an enemy base. So probably not the show to introduce Gundam to your kids. But
what are you talking about? that was the first Gundam I was exposed to.
I remember they ran that uncut on Toonami at one point. And I still think they cut that because there's a lot of blood in that one episode. I don't think they aired that as uncut as they said they did.
I remember because I had the VHSs way back in the day from it, because the first time I ever saw anything Gundam related was this on I think it was the Dragon Ball Z Cooler's Revenge movie.
Hell of a way
trailer.
to start.
No, it's the best part. Like, because I don't know, War in the Pocket and like 08 are probably my two favorite. And Thunderbolt.
You're not alone in that. Those are very popular.
No, they're great.
Popular ones, but
they've aged very, very well.
Yeah, they have. Some people have trouble getting into the original series because animation in the 70s it's kind of hit or miss. It can be kind of hard to follow. Not to say the story's bad, but just old animation can turn some people off.
It has some really bad pacing issues. The original, that's for
sure.
Going back to it,
the whole going back to Earth arc kind of slows down quite a bit.
The whole thing has just got some problems. Zeta picked it up really well, and that still holds super well.
Zeta picks up very quickly too once Camille gets the actual Zeta Gundam. The early part of the show kind of meanders around a little bit, but you're basically just watching Camille methodically kill all of Jared's friends one by one. It gets very tiresome. But 0080 is probably my favorite of the OVAs just because the story hits very, very hard. It's not just like a story of the good versus bad. It's very much a story of like in war there are really no winners. There's no good side. There's no bad. It's pretty much just everyone's losing. It's a matter of who's going to come out alive at the end of it. The story doesn't even follow like a Gundam pilot per se. The story really follows a young boy named Alfred Izuruha, and through a series of circumstances, he ends up befriending a Zeon soldier on this colony, and they become friends and everything like that. But the soldier Bernie is there to destroy this Gundam that's being developed clandestinely on this colony that's supposedly neutral. And because the Federation is developed, who are the good guys, are developing weapons in a civilian colony, and basically
it's always like that.
putting the entire colony at risk. And
it's always neutral.
And it's getting to the end of the war, and Zeon is getting more and more desperate. And it gets to the end, and they're basically like, "We're going to nuke this entire colony to stop this development." And Bernie and Al basically have to join forces and complete the mission of destroying the Gundam before the colony is destroyed. So that's where I'm like, it's very much like the Zeon are the bad guys and they're basically space Nazis. But the Federation are also giant pricks that don't really care about their population. They're just there to win at basically any cost. They don't care either. But I don't want to give away too much of the ending, even though we did kind of meme it out a bit.
No, we didn't say what happened exactly. We're just talking about delicious food.
Yeah, but a great series to watch. Very short. You don't have to get into like a long running series. It's only 6 episodes long. Glorious animation that holds up. Very cool designs, and some very, very cool model kits like this. Like I love this take on the Zaku too. It's just like very much more beefy, tough, aggressive looking. So. I'm
just glad there's all the older series are still getting a lot of love.
Yeah, it's great to see them, and they released this one in time with like the 2.0 Alex that came out. So you can have them, even though this is not a master grade, they fit right into with one another. The style and aesthetic matches very well. And basically when you have them next to each other, it looks like they were both pulled right out of the animation. It looks really, really good. Yeah,
I'm hoping that they do some more of those because there's a lot of kits from that era that need some more.
I'd love to see the Rick Dom 2 in like the RE100 line. The Rick Dom showed up in this show too briefly and had a very cool, updated look to it. Or maybe the Gelgood Jaeger. That would be another very cool one to see.
Bandai, if you're listening, give us a Camphor 2.0 and a Goof Custom 2.0.
I want to bring in the Camphor 1.0 just because I want to do.
I was going to bring that.
I just want to bring in a kits like they're master grades that are old, but they've aged well, and I think the Camphor is one of those. It's not great, but it has aged well, all things considered.
I can't agree with that. I've built one and did the full paint up on it, and it's like, this has got problems.
It's got problems.
It's got screws.
It's got screws. It's got the really crappy old style
The
hands.
hands are bad.
But
the gun is great.
They have all the weapons it comes with. I think make it really, really worthwhile.
We need more shotguns.
More shotguns.
That's the thing. We
More
don't have enough
shotguns.
of those.
More mobile suits with shotguns. I agree.
It's only like what, 2, 3 maybe at most.
Well, I know there was a couple like exclusive kits they released of Zaku 2s that they just
Yeah.
threw in runners of the comp for weapons, so you could have a Zaku with a shotgun.
We made this mold. We gotta milk it.
Exactly.
We need another unicorn.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. No, not more unicorns. I think we have enough at this point.
What do you mean? You're not expecting the perfect raid perfectibility?
Look, I already built like a unicorn that's 6 feet tall. I don't want to see any more unicorns. I'm tired of it at this
I
point.
think Beta thinks you need another.
All right. So how are we doing for time? What time are we?
We're on 56 minutes.
Okay, so I think we're just about good. I think we should start to wrap it up a little bit. But yeah, these guys are very, very cool. I love these RE100 kits. We had, I think, the Zaku at one point, but they sold out pretty quick.
It's hard to come by now.
Yeah.
I've been trying to get a second one as a gift for a friend, but it's just like, oh, it's always out of stock. And when it is in stock, it's like cheapest is like maybe 90 to 80, but 80 to 90.
Yeah, I regret not jumping on it when I had the chance, but I'll get them someday. It's the one good thing about Bandai is that the kits never truly 100% go out of print. You just gotta wait long enough for them to come back around again. All right, let's go ahead and switch back to the camera.
Alright.
Yeah, thank you for bringing these in. It's always nice to have some extra flavor. I love hearing more about the Warhammer stuff, even though I'm not as familiar with the game or the lore. I can definitely appreciate everything that goes into them. You didn't break that off, did you? Is that just a magnet?
Yeah, magnets.
Okay, it scared me for a second. I was listening to somebody else breaking stuff for once. I still feel bad when he brought in the Astray stuff and I kept messing it up. I'm like afraid to touch stuff too much nowadays. But yeah, it's very cool. So do you have like a social media or something where somebody could follow you if they want to see more of your work?
No, I just stream on the side.
Just stream on the side?
Yeah, but that's nothing related to model building or anything like that. I don't have
so
any
video games
platform
and
where I
stuff
share
like that. What do you
anything.
play?
Horror games primarily.
Horror, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, that thing that every YouTuber does.
But yeah, hopefully we can see you again on build night sometime to see what you're working on, or maybe if you have some other stuff you want to show off sometime, come on in for another episode and show some more of your guys.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
always.
These are very, very cool.
Yeah, hopefully one day we'll be streaming one of our games of Warhammer.
Yeah,
and
if we
bring
can
it in.
get the space to get all these tables and all these battlefields set up.
You're gonna watch us just butcher the rules for 4 hours.
Hey, why not? As long as we have fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Every time I look up and listen to anything about how to play the game, like, oh wait, that's wrong. We're wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, there's always something. It's always interesting trying to figure out the rules and everything else in the tabletop. Like you say, when Flynn gets the other side, we're going to be dabbling into the Warhammer. So we're going to be doing Warhammer, Gundam, a lot more space to do all this type of stuff. So
I
that'll
can't
be in the
wait.
it'll be in the near future, hopefully in end of March. Hopefully we can get it done and kind of get that up and running before the fourth Flynn's cosplay event. So that'll be
That'd
very
be great.
nice
Give us a
little.
lot of space.
Yeah, exactly. That'll be a really nice little present for everybody. Get some more space up and running.
Actually have a roof high enough to where I can
Yeah,
bring all
walk.
my things maybe.
A little bit more room for you can stretch out and do some stuff.
I'm just looking forward, if we do get to stream it, just to catch some of those rare moments that are gut busting.
Exactly. Some of those.
I'm gonna command reroll the psychic power. Double
Yeah.
ones.
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna reroll that. Double sixes. Shit. Kills.
some of
That
the-
was. I think that was the best moment.
Yeah, there's
That one that-
definitely some rules that are just like that should not happen, but it just did. And why did it just happen? But I guess
You
that's
rolled
the-
bad, bro. The game hates you.
It's
Yeah,
like
that's-
rolling a critical failure on a critical failure.
Yeah.
That has happened once, and that cost the game, and that was probably one of the funniest moments.
It's like, read the rule book. What does this say? Well, it's like you and target player die. What? You failed so hard you kill everything on the board?
Perils of the warp.
Yeah, exactly. And exploding vehicles is always a lovely one too. But yeah, I think that wraps up with we got a good mix of Warhammer and Gundam in tonight's stream. A little bit different, very good though overall. I think it was a pretty good stream.
Yeah. Thank you very much, man, for coming in and showing me
Yeah,
your
thank
stuff.
you for
Very,
coming
very
in
cool
and
stuff.
bringing
No
your
problem.
stuff as well.
I can't wait to see what else you can bring out in the future.
Yeah, hopefully.
Get some AdMech in here in the near future. See,
You need to paint your dang Tyranids.
yeah, I
You need to
gotta.
come in here and talk about the Tyranid faction.
Yeah, I'll talk. One day I'll talk
We've heard about
it.
the Necrons, we've heard about the Tau, now we need to hear about the Tyranids.
And then we gotta find a Space Marine player, which
No, we don't.
See,
We don't need
this is
it.
what I'm talking about. It's like, I know nothing about the lore, but I know there's like a lot of hatred between the factions.
We don't need any.
What if we had
It's always-
Space Marines, Space Marines?
it's Xenos or Marines,
Or chaos.
but those are okay.
I only
Chaos are
know
cool.
about Chaos from like Flash Kids videos. I just know they scream a lot.
Yeah,
That's about it.
either Xenos or
Chaos.
your Marine. But alrighty, guys, I think that ends the stream of the Let's Talk Gundam and a little bit of Warhammer tonight. So hopefully everybody's doing good. Like I said, we have our Valentine's Day event. It's going to be on a Saturday. It's going to be February 13th. You know, it starts around probably around 5. We usually kind of start everything up around 5 and usually kind of picks up throughout the night. We're going to have we're trying to get a character artist. We have we have some different events going on. It's going to be a good night. It's going to be a little bit of a new sort of twist on our event. So it's going to be good. It's going to be fun. Then we have our March, we're going to be at Super Fan Con,
FanCon.
as well as we're going to be doing our cosplay event at the end of March as well. Somebody says, where's the Wing Zero?
He's right there. We'll talk about him later. He ain't going anywhere. Next week.
We'll show some love to the Wing Zero next week then.
Right.
As well, we do have that kit as well in stock. So
Yeah.
it's going to be a good kit to review and look over. But anyways, guys, hope you all have a good night. I'll see you later. Ben, you have anything to closing remarks?
If you guys want to follow me on Instagram, I'm on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all that stuff is Ubers Cosplay, UBERS Cosplay. And I'm also here most Thursdays for Build and Paint Night. Usually work on some of my own stuff, but also here to just help out. If you want to come in and talk shop about model kits or anime or whatever you want, come on in, hang out, have a few beers,
Yeah,
have some fun.
it's always a good time. Alrighty, guys, I'll